Hello everyone. Today I want to show you a neat little trick for taking the excess glue off the end of your pin blank after you apply a CA pin finish. If you've had the same experience as mine, you understand that you sometimes get a little buildup of glue on the end of your blank after applying the CA, and you want to take that off in an easy, fast way that's also very accurate and keeps it very square. I need to give credit where credit is due. Good friend of mine, George Valentine, is the one that actually told me about this tip, and it works really great. Thanks a lot, George, for a great tip. And today I want to show you how to make this little tool that you can take that excess glue off the end of your pin blank using stuff that you probably already have around your house or around your pin shop. So let's take a look at how to make this little tool. First, let's take a look at the items that you're going to need to make this little tool. Like I said, you'll probably have most of these items around your pin shop or in your house, so it should be pretty simple for everybody to make. First of all, you're going to need your mandrel, preferably an adjustable mandrel, but you can use any pin mandrel for that. Of course, the pin blank that has the excess glue on the end of it. You'll need the adapter that spaces out the mandrel to fit the particular pin tube that you're using. You'll need some double-sided tape, and you'll need a piece of sandpaper with a hole punched in the middle of it. I just use a 320 grit sandpaper. You can use whatever you're comfortable with, but nothing too heavy. I'd say 320, 400 would be about the most you want to go with that. So that's what you're going to need to make this little tool. Let's take a look how to make it. Okay, we've got everything that we need to make this simple little tool. Let me show you how it's done here. I have removed the mandrel rod from my adjustable mandrel, and I'll show you why that makes it a little bit easier here in a minute. First thing you want to do is take the lock nut off of your mandrel rod, and you want to get two pieces of double-sided tape that are in length about the diameter of your lock nut. Doesn't have to be very precise though. Now you want to get the first piece of tape and stick it onto the lock nut just to one side of the hole. And fold that down around the lock nut. Then get your other piece and put it on the other side of the hole. Press everything down real well. Then you want to thread your lock nut back onto your mandrel rod and bring it all the way down to the end of the threads. Next, you want to get your sandpaper with the hole punched in it and slide it up onto the mandrel rod and stick it to the double-sided tape firmly. And this essentially is the tool. If I'd have cut my sandpaper round, it might have looked a little nicer, but square works just as well. And to use the tool, if you're going to be using a pin tube that is larger than the mandrel, then you just slide on your adapter and slide on your pin tube or your pin barrel and just rotate the sandpaper against the end of your pin barrel. And it just sands that CA right off the end of it. Gives it a very nice smooth square end. And you just flip this around. You see, if this was not an adjustable mandrel, I'd have to take the lock nut off every time I put the pin barrel onto the mandrel. So I like to use an adjustable mandrel for that reason. So we did one end, we just flip this around and do the other end. This works very nicely and gives you a nice smooth square end on the end of your pin barrel. Let me show you now how you can put this into your lathe if you care to do it that way. So here's how you can install this tool on your lathe and do it with power. And there is a kind of a neat little trick you can do here too. You can sand both ends without having to remove the blank, and I'll show you how to do that. You take your double-sided tape again, tear two more pieces off of it, and stick them on the base of the mandrel. Just like you did on the lock nut. And then get you another piece of sandpaper with the hole punched in it and slide that onto the mandrel rod. Press it down firmly. Now you can get your pin barrel and your adapter and slide them in place. Put on the lock nut that we made earlier. And then you can just bring up your tailstock and turn on the lathe, and now you can just slide it to one end very lightly, sand that end of it, and then you just move it down to this end and very lightly sand that end. And just like that, you've taken the glue off of both ends and kept the end of your pin barrel very nice and square. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it very useful. If you want some more free pin turning tips, just visit www.pinturningtips.com. I'm Eric Anderson, and until next time, happy pin turning.